Young Galahad had at long last found the Holy Grail, yet he was filled with wrath, for the quest did yield but little challenge. Thus did he decree that no man living deserved the Grail save himself. And so, as any man of sound mind would do, he did cast the Grail into the forge, melting it down to fashion a wondrous and most terrible iron golem of wondrous strength. And he did name it the Furious Warhammer. Thereupon he did forsake the earth, taking flight unto the moon, where he did farm his aura all the livelong morning. Welcome to the experimental, or perhaps the first episode of What the Heck is This Kit? Today we'll be looking at this galante looking mech from SNAA, the Furious Warhammer Galahad. But he doesn't look furious at all, he looks calm, exquisite, elegant even, which is a far cry from its name. It should be blazingly red or fiery orange or something. Maybe if I were to name it myself, I would perhaps call it the Chivalrous Warhammer Galahad or the Illustrious Warhammer Galahad. I'd even call it the Shining Warhammer Galahad or something. You might have bought this or are planning to buy this for the same reason I bought mine. It's because it looks sick. I mean, a knight robot with a giant hammer with shiny gold axe and inner frame? Well, count me intrigued. But that's just 30% of why I bought it. 70% of it is because the kit is cheap. I paid just 1,000 pesos or $16 for it. You get a master grade quality for this price. That is an original design and not bootleg. I don't know about you, but those traits is what basically sold me this kit. But this machine doesn't really have a show or lore to go with it. It's just a cool looking kit. Not that I know of, but if you know a media where these machines are featured, let us know down in the comments. The kit might have been just an idea, but the namesake Galahad does mean something. Well, here's some summarized lore. In the Arthurian legend, the Knight Sir Galahad is the ultimate personification of purity, chivalry, and spiritual perfection. He is the son of Sir Lancelot and Elaine of Corbenic. Galahad arrives at Camelot as a young man, and he sat in the Siege Perilous, a vacant seat at the Round Table reserved only for the knights destined to find the Holy Grail. Then basically, he was the one who found the Holy Grail eventually, along with his mates Sir Boris and Sir Percival. Then he ascends to heaven. Now this kit is named Galahad, and the kit's aesthetic somehow rightly corresponds with the namesake's qualities. Pure and emanates spiritual and holy energy with its primarily white armor plates, and that is even heightened by the golden accents. But man, I'm still bothered by their naming choices of their kits, like the Siki and then this. I mean, why even put Furious in the name, man? Furious is for something like a hellspawn mech, like call it Furious Bolo Satanas or whatever. But enough with that, because this time, we'll actually be taking a look at the SNAA's Furious Warhammer Galahad. If you missed the previous video, here it is. It's the building process of this kit. You'll see what's inside the box and what you build if you plan to buy it. Now let's see what this kit has to offer. So this kit offers us some decent articulation for dynamic movements. The head is attached to a double ball jointed neck. Considering the horns with the shoulder armor clearance, it could rotate 360. The vent tails here could be pulled upwards to reveal the face, but I'm kinda having a hard time doing that. There we go. Arms are decent. The shoulder armor here moves separately from its inner frame. This gold thruster here could be moved up and down. And we got some excellent elbow bend. And the wrist is double jointed. We also have some butterfly joints here on the shoulders. The waist can be rotated here with almost no hindrance. The rear skirt can be moved up and down to a certain degree. These side skirts that covers the thigh joints are movable through a ball joint. We have some excellent thigh joint range here despite the thigh's bulk. It can do some side splits and kick forward and back. The double jointed knees are decent, although volume of both calves and thighs kinda cancels out the maximum reach of the movements. This is the range of our ankle joints. We also have some limited heel articulation here, and the ankle guard movements. Let us look at the weapons. The axe is just static, no gimmicks. Unlike this huge hammer here, which has a retractable handle and spear. The rhino-looking shield is also static, no gimmicks. I attached the gripping hand on it already. And these pair of smaller gauntlet shields that has golden claws on it. So all in all, these are what's inside the box. Of course, Galahad, the hammer, Warhorn charge shield, and the Fury axe. Also, the accessories included are the hammer sheath onto the backpack, the two smaller brazier shields. Aside from the default gripping hands, we have extra hands here, a pair of open palms, a pair of relaxed open hands, and a pair of clenched fists. We also have some support connector here for the arms when holding the weapons, although I haven't used them. And this kit cost me 1,000 pesos or 16 US dollars. I think that's a pretty nice deal for what we have here. Okay, so let's talk about the good things about this kit. First, I think for what you're paying, this kit is extremely solid. Also, I like how you are instructed to build the frame first. I mean, I just want to appreciate its skeleton first, and I think letting you build its inner frame first is a win. Also, I think the seam lines here is part of the aesthetics now with how much there is going on its design. I thought at first that it was a 144 Gundam scale, as the box and manual says it's 144, and I just assumed it was Gundam sized. But it's more of the size of an MG kit. It also got some inner frame and a generous amount of accessories, extra hands, and big weapons. I'm going to summarize what I think of the articulation. I think it's pretty decent. You get your money's worth and more. SNAA is generous with this one, from box to manual, and it even has a free decal. Also, some parts are undergated, so nub marks on some parts are not a problem. I never had to clean this build, to be honest. I'm just being nitpicky if I say that there are some questionable design choices, but overall, this kit is a nice shelf piece. I think the gold accent make the kit quite a spectacle. You know what would make this even better? The cape. So alright, number one is this one particular part that is not good, and I hope this is just my copy having this problem, but the waist socket was too tight for the peg, and when I forced it thinking it would just snap fit, the socket snap broke instead. The socket cracked. It didn't really break to the point that it can't be repaired anymore, but it made the waist a little bit loose. Did I do something wrong with attaching it? Regardless, it's quite a bummer. Also, on some gold parts, some of it are not undergated, and the knob marks on it are quite evident, and it matters especially on the metallic painted parts. Although I think it's easier to fix these now with the availability of metallic markers. I think some of its parts or perhaps the armor could be a little bit pesky when moving. One is this curved skirt here that gets detached annoyingly often when you try to move some dynamic posing with its legs. The joints, particularly the arms here carrying some heavy parts, also gets loose, but I think this problem is quite understandable for how big its weapons are. Also, I think we have some quite redundant design choices here, which is just my opinion though. But the joints here on the toes, I think they initially considered putting some articulation here, but said whatever the last minute and put some rivets there anyway. I think it's the same case with the hammer with how much is going on with it. I think it was supposed to have a lot of gimmicks like retractable head, but realized later on that it was too much work. Also, some horns and blades are in gold while others, they just decided just to mold it in planes. I mean, why? You made the pipes in the hammer in gold but not the spikes? I can forgive the pistons here since it is mostly hidden, but the blades and the horns and also the gold accents on the legs. They really decided to put the largest gold part on the rear and just put some small stripes at the front because maybe I'm going to post this with the legs facing the opposite way of the front of the body. They even made the verniers gold, jeez man. Another thing is the war horn charge here. The front horn's root here is abruptly flat. I mean, a small mouth or decorative socket would make the design unabridged. Why can't it be like the breastplate here? This one is perfect. Perfect balance of the geometric lines and shapes and golden accent. It's my favorite part of the kit. I think I said all that regarding the design because this is not an established figure, and I apologize if those words came out offensive. It doesn't have a lore, it doesn't have a show, or maybe there is, I don't know. And it's more of, how do you put it? A personal idea drafted into the board then directly turned into some model kit rather than something that would be in a media like in a show or in a book that would induce some lore and world building. Well, maybe except the name Galahad. I could be wrong though. I think the general shape resembles more of a suit armor rather than a mecha if we disregard the mecha evident features. And that is not a bad thing. I never intended to say it's a bad thing. In fact, I love how this kit looks and that's what matters. I mean, apart from the cheap price, why would I even buy this kit in the first place? This kit looks magnificent. Have you bought this kit? What are your thoughts about it? Let us know down in the comments. Or are you planning to buy this? I hope this video helped. Thank you very much friends for watching. Likes, shares, and subscribes are very much appreciated. And see you next time. Also, for something this gallant looking, the name Furious Warhammer is apt.